You join me today as I go exploring in the Loyalsock State Forest. There's been 4 or 5 straight days of rain and the forecast is for overcast skies, which was exactly what it was when I set out. Let's see how accurate that is for the rest of the day. You may have seen previously, my handy little video tripod suffered a tragic breakage. It had been with us for over 50,000 miles of travel though, and it had a hard life. Just before I left home, the replacement arrived. So time to unbox it and put it straight into service. Not so keen on that bright lettering, it's a little bit shouty. But it does have an integrated 1/4-20 thread and is quite a bit taller than its predecessor, albeit not much heavier. I think at full stretch this is 82 inches tall. It's a warm day, so hydration preparation is important. Plain water is fine, but I do like to add a little something, preferably with some salts or electrolytes and maybe some caffeine just to help. But most importantly, a flavour that doesn't leave a weird taste or tang in the mouth. Summer is tricky for landscape photography, but it should be a chance to find some cool waterfalls and overlooks that we can come back to at a later date, as well as getting some exercise and some fresh air. First stop today is a short distance down the Loyalsock Trail. The path is pretty easy going, albeit quite steep in places. The camera really doesn't do this justice. It's about a 1 in 3 gradient through here. The Loyalsock Trail is well marked, but looking up at the impressive cobwebs is showing the clouds are rapidly disappearing. After a few minutes of descending the trail, I reached a bridle path. Left to the haystacks, but we're going right to Dutchman Falls. Which is so well signposted it's almost impossible to miss. Well, there's definitely water flowing. This is the top section with maybe a 3-foot drop. The lack of cloud is now facilitating hotspots on the water at the top of the waterfall as the sun breaks through. And it isn't long before the entire waterfall is blown out, which is far from ideal. As you can see, there's no clouds left in the sky and the sun is now breaking through that tree canopy. So at this point, it really is all about finding places to shoot and compositions for future reference. An interesting scramble led me down to the lower section of the falls. As you can see, it's really dark and chaotic. In fact, very, very chaotic, with random rocks, trees, branches and general debris, albeit with a good water flow and some potentially interesting foreground elements. I took a little wander around and stepped back to take in the whole scene. Yeah, about that chaos. Right behind me is the Loyalsock Creek, flowing down towards the Haystacks and World's End State Park. Look how bright that is out there. Ah, is this the path that I should have taken to get down here? We'll try that on the way out to see if it's easier. Time for a photo. You can once again see the sun starting to break through on the right hand side. This really is a nice waterfall. I'm sure Mrs. Faceless would love to photograph this. And with one photo done, the sun arrived, making it time to head to the next location. Yeah, this is way easier. Quick little switch back. And in no time at all, we've gone from down there to above the waterfall. There are a few trees down on this section of trail, including one that has the trail marker, but it should be obvious where the waterfall is. Along the bridle path, the car park is clearly marked, although the camera now gives a better idea of how steep this trail is, albeit with perfectly placed natural resting places, which were most welcome. I'd normally film myself going up this and then let Mrs. Faceless stop the recording and carry the camera up, but she's not with me, and quite frankly I don't want to have to walk all the way back down and all the way back up again. Once is enough. Did I tell you this is quite steep? Back at the car, time to pack away the gear and head to the next spot on my list. Most of my travels were along gravel tracks, mostly okay for cars, but do watch out for a few potholes or rocks, here and there.
Arriving at Pennsylvania Mineral Springs Falls on the left.
Right at the edge of the track, which is very handy. Just the kind of hike that Mrs. Faceless prefers. With the Loyalsock Trail heading down to the left, I find myself right at the boundary of the Loyalsock Forest and World's End State Park. A quick clamber down the bank, avoiding the trip hazard of those tree roots, and I'm now in the creek. Once again, a nice flow of water, so let's head up closer and look for a composition. Okay, I've got a wet foot already. So it's a little blown out over there, but it's not blown out up there yet, nor there. So I think I need to be over there, which obviously is easier said than done. Alright, quickly talk you through this. It's a little blown out now, but I took the photos before the sun hit. So I did a focus on this little bit down here, as you can see here. Got that. Took several full of water to make sure I got a nice silky water. Then I've changed my focus point to the waterfall at the back, and I've taken a whole series of those to get nice silky water again. I can choose which one I like when I get home. Then I've taken one for the whole scene, just to make sure I've got enough detail and nothing's either blown out or too dark. and then I'll stack those and just blend them when I get back. I managed to get out of there with only 2 wet feet. Next stop is what I think is Dutter's Run Falls, which looks interesting. Also, this seems to have been a campground at one point, with benches and a barbecue set up overlooking the creek. This is the view upstream, and this is the drop over the falls, so I need to find a way to get myself right down there. Looks interesting. 1 or 2 tiny little blowout spots, but mostly in shade, although the sun is coming round, so I've probably got to be quick. It looks like there's bubbles going round in circles, so that's always good. Right, let's head back to the car, get our stuff, and go and find somewhere to take our photo. You know what? I really like that view. Let's try one from here quickly. So I've taken 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, so I've got all of the surrounds done. Then I've taken a whole sequence of photos from about half a second all the way up to 5 seconds. And at 5 seconds, this is looking really good, the waterfall on the left, but the one on the right's blown out because that has much more light on it, much more water as well. So I can blend all of those together and hopefully bring together the perfect waterfall. Timing is everything right now. That far section of the waterfall keeps going into shade, and then the sun breaks through and suddenly it's all blown out again. So timing, as I said, is everything. Just to reiterate, it's rained for the past 4.5 days, and the forecast today was to stop raining and just be a flat grey sky, which would have been perfect because we've got great amount of water. In fact, that's probably why I can't get out any further, because despite what it looks like, the water's about a foot, maybe 18 inches deep there, and I didn't bring my wellies. So the difficulty we've got with no clouds is the hot spot there has moved all the way up there, and it's now starting to hot spot right at the top there. So we may be done with this waterfall for today. But I do think I've got a couple of good shots, and I do like this waterfall. So I guess I'm going to be back, probably in fall, and probably with Mrs. Faceless. short distance from Dutterun Falls is an overlook.
Arriving at Pennsylvania High Knob Overlook on the right.
This would likely make a great sunset location, given the right clouds obviously, but even on a cloudless sunny day like today, the view is still really impressive, if somewhat green. Just imagine autumn colours. Tasty. Talking of which,
the choice is Three Sisters Southwestern quinoa and beans, or Cuban coconut, black beans and rice.
clearly there's worse places to stop and have a late lunch. Mrs. Faceless does need to buy me an awning though.
So what would I give this? On its own, maybe a 3 or 4 out of 10. I would say this is definitely a filler, with something like a pulled pork, chicken, beef, turkey, lamb, in fact any protein at all. Still, I tried it.
With my appetite satiated for now, I moved on to the next stop at Loyalsock Creek Canyon Vista, which I think is technically in World's End State Park. Anyway, this location has an overlook and a rock garden, although the rock garden is home to the timber rattlesnake, and I can categorically state I am not a fan of any kind of snake, rattle or otherwise. So this will be a quick foray, with lots of looking down at the ground and stomping of feet as I go. There's some nice views and interesting formations here, but I was surrounded by other people, so not able to video or photograph much. The overlook, however, was empty. And the view is impressive. Some clouds, a sunset and autumn colours would make this scene.
Once again, this appears to be part of the Loyalsock Trail, and I think just down there somewhere is World's End State Park, which is where we're going to head next. But that's probably going to be next time. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed travelling along with us today, a like and a subscribe would be much appreciated. Until next time.